everyone, welcome back to my channel. Lovely to have you here. I hope that you've all been enjoying the tutorials and the various parts that I've been putting together for the Purple Passion keepsake journal. I've really thoroughly enjoyed putting that together, and I know so many of you have sent me such wonderful feedback, so thank you for all of that. Now, I did have a request from Spinny, one of my members of my Facebook group, to show me how I go about doing a couple of mixed media bits on some of my tea stain pages. So I've got two sort of techniques I'm going to share with you today. I will say I don't know that much about mixed media. I only really do a couple of things. I don't profess to be a guru on this, but this is just things that I've sort of put together on my own sort of journey. So I'm sure that you probably have far better ways or know of people that do this a lot better, but this is my version and this is the result. I'll show you at the end. So please join me and to do this. Right, I've got a couple of things here on my desk of things that you're going to need to do this for these two techniques. The first is I've just grabbed a couple of stencils. These are all sorts of stencils from all sorts of people. I've got layering stencils, so you've got some that look a bit like pebbles or spots. I've got some that I'm going to use for actual molding paste. I'm going to show you how to do these. I don't know where these came from, or these are just I've had a long time. Here's another one of mine that I use. This I think is a Stamperia stencil. This I again don't know where I've got that from, and this is a Tim Holtz, and I've just grabbed a couple that are going to be relevant for this. You just need a few. You know, if you don't have a stencil, you could use a doily that you've cut out from a card or a paper doily. Try and see what you have. You can also just make your own doily, you know, or stencil yourself. You don't have to use these. So just have a look and see what you have. I have got a brush. This is about 3/4 of an inch wide or 2 centimeters. Just a brush to paint some gesso with. I've got a little spatula. This you need for modeling paste, but I'm sure you could use a back of a knife as well. These came together in a set with a load of different brushes that I use for various things. I do have this on my Amazon favorites list if you're interested. It wasn't very expensive actually. These are those blending brushes that we love to use, so we use that for some inks. I've got a couple of my inks here. One that I like to use a lot is antique linen. I've got speckled egg for a bit of blue, bundled sage and tattered rose. We'll see how we go. I usually use 2 of them at once, so on a page. A bit of masking tape here because you need this just to secure your stencils in place, so even washi tape if you have that. I've got this is the modeling paste that I use. It doesn't have to be this brand. I have got this on my Amazon list as well. Go and see whichever is the popular brand for you to use. This is not a big container, 250 ml, so not much at all. This lasts a long time for what I use. And then white acrylic gesso. Again, this was really cheap from the works. Any white acrylic gesso that you can get your hands on, we're going to use some of that as well. All right, we'll also grab probably a couple of stamps a little later on, but let's start. Right, so I've got all of those things around me. I just want to put those to the side. I am going to use some paper that I have dyed. So I'm going to grab a sheet of my avocado dyed paper. It doesn't have to be hand dyed paper. You know, it doesn't have to be, but I am using this. If you've got tea stain paper, that will work as well. And I'm not sure, I haven't tried it on a printed sheet, but maybe I will do that just to check and see how that works out, just to see if it works on a printed sheet. So I'll just use one that I've printed through an inkjet printer just to check. All right, so this is one of the sheets I'm going to put into one of my signatures, and I'm going to start with a bit of the modeling paste. So I'm going to look for a smallish stencil, and I think I'm going to use the one with the roses on, this one here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick this towards the end of my page, or let's put it at the top. We'll put this over here. Want it pretty close to the edge just because of the design of this. So I'm going to have that there. Now just to secure that while I'm doing this, I'm going to just use some of this masking tape. Just get that in place. So we're just going to run that across the top. This is easily removable. It's not high tack, meaning the sticky is quite gentle. It's not going to rip your paper apart. So that's important to know. And then I'm going to try and get some of this on the edge here just to hold this bit down without going too close to the actual bit itself. Right, I think that those bits are enough. It's not completely flat, but as flat as I possibly can get it. So we'll just leave it like that there, I think. Okay, right, now what I want to do is I want to use my modeling paste. Let's just open that up, take the dried bits off. Right, and then I'm going to use my little spatula tool. Just mix your little your modeling paste together a little bit. This is quite thick. You don't need that much, so this is about it. I'm going to hold this down as I do this, and very gently I am just going to run my spatula over the stencil here just to fill in the various areas. Right, if you've got extra, just take it off like that. Just make sure you've covered all the areas there like that. All right, the other thing I forgot to mention is you need wet wipes. Wet wipes are great just in case you get that. I'm going to just clean that off for the moment so I can put it down. Right, so let's just try and gently remove this. So we'll start with the tape over there, and just go carefully. You just want to get that off like that. So there's one piece, and we'll hang on to that because I'll use it again in a minute. We'll just take that piece there, and then very carefully this last piece over here. Now, oh, I did actually tear my page a bit here. Not to worry, it's in the middle and everything is fixable. Don't worry about that. Okay, now what I'm going to do with the bit that's torn, I'm just going to take a bit of, well, let's get this off first. So you want to just carefully lift off your stencil. All right, just going to put that over there. You can see now how great that looks. Gives you a beautiful finish, perfect for a keepsake journal. Now with this bit here that I've just messed up, you see, I'll just show you that, you know, everybody messes up and there are always ways to fix these things. And there you go. And I will just put some stencil and things, and you know, you never know what I'm going to put there, but I'll think of something. Right, so we've got that side done. Let's just turn that around. I want to put this rose on the other side here. So I'm just seeing now how I want it. So if that's going to be the top, this is going to be the bottom. I think I'm going to put this over here. Just make sure it's not, it's got a bit of a smear, and I don't want that to get onto my page, although it's easy to remove with a wet wipe, so you know, that's also fine. But I'm looking for this side, so I'm going to just put this down over there, and maybe not that, yeah, just about there. I think I'm going to just use some of this tape again just to get it into place. Not the greatest use of tape. Let's just get that across there. It's just to hold it down, although I do hold it with my fingers. Right, so let's just get the wet wipe out the way. again, just get a little bit of that modeling paste. Hold this down with your other fingers and try not go over the stencil onto the actual paper, although we can wipe it off once we're done. So try and get it fairly even. You know, it's like trowel, like plastering. You can do it. Right, so I think I'm pretty happy with that. Just try and get off most of this. Oh, I've missed a little bit there. There's a little bit. I forgot, I think that's everywhere. Yeah. And we'll just put that there. And again, just lift the tape off gently. Like that. Get the corner, lift it off, and there we have it. All right, now just where you see I've made a little smear, just get that to the side there. You just take your wet wipe and you just wipe it off. Okay, and over here as well, there's just a little bit of a smear, and it's easily removable. Okay, so there we have the rose on the other side. Now I'm going to put this over on the side to dry. So that's that one there. Right, now what I want to do now is I am now going to show you how to do this one. Okay, so I'm back. You can see I've cleaned off this stencil, and the way to go about that is just to use a soft nail brush and water and just run it over this very carefully, and it comes back, you know, perfectly clean for use for another day. So that's what you do with that. Right, now I've got the next piece of paper here. And what I want to show you here is how I go about making a layered look on this paper. So this is a sheet of tea stained paper. My hands are full of all sorts of things. And I'm going to start off with my white clear gesso. All right, so this is quite thick stuff. It looks like very thick PVA paint, and it smells like it as well. I'm using my little brush here, and all I'm going to do is, this is a very random thing. I just paint a little bit of gesso in various ways on my page. Now I'm talking about really thin amounts. I don't have a pattern. I just go with how I feel, and it's just giving it a little bit more dimension. When we finished with it, you'll see what actually happens with all of this. I'm just doing it not all over, just in parts. All right, so it will it will dry pretty quickly. Just run your brush in both directions just so that you don't get a striated sort of mark. Okay, so I'm going to just turn this around, and then do the same over here. So again, just sporadically all over the page, you know, as the mood takes you. This is just the first step, and we just going to do that like this. Okay, this is a lot of fun. I do enjoy this, and a lot of this is all just self-discovery for me, and I'm probably sure that there are many ways that people do things. You know, there isn't any right or wrong. It's what works for you. That's my opinion anyway. So, you know, we live and learn. Okay, so I just go around, as I said, like that. Now I don't know if you can see, but you've got like a splotchy sort of bit that I've done in both directions. Now I would do this probably on both sides, but you obviously need to allow this to dry. So I would do every one that you want to do, usually a couple at a time. I'm going to include 2 of each of these in my signature, so I'm going to do 4 sheets of paper like this. So I will carry on doing this. I will speed it up, and you can just have a look and see, and I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, so I have done the one side now. Those dry pretty quickly. So as I finished those 4, this one is already dry. So I'm going to just turn this over now and do the same on the other side. So I will speed this up and play some lovely music for you, and you can relax and just either complete what I'm doing or just enjoy the relaxation. Okay, so we're finished with that, and I would go and put this into some water. Make sure you rinse this really well, just so that it's ready to use another day. So I'll be back with you just in a second. Okay, so I'm back, and we have a dried sheet here, and we're going to do the next little phase of this layering process. So what I do now is, this is where I decide on the inks that I want to put on here. Usually try and choose one or two that are quite muted, and then maybe one that's slightly picking up the colors that are in the theme of the journal, because I generally work to a color scheme. Okay, so the kind of stencils I'm going to use are probably these two. This one is like a pebble sort of finish, and this one's sort of just like a load of dots of different sizes. And what I do is I start with the lightest color first. So in this case it's going to be my antique linen, and this is pretty old. Yeah, and I've rubbed one of my other the antique linen oxide one on here by mistake. It doesn't matter, it doesn't affect it. So what I do is I take my big brush and I rub circles on my ink, and then I decide how I want to place this. So I get it over one of the areas with the white, and where it's not white and where I have put white, I sort of just rub in circles over that, like that. Okay, you can see it's just, hopefully you can see it's just picking up some of the detail there. And then I just move it around again, and just randomly just put little bits of ink and circles over the page. So I don't have a pattern for this, it's just a random thing. I'm doing some darker, some lighter, and bigger holes here and not so big ones. It's just as the mood gets me. I just go with the flow. I usually have music on, you know, just relaxing and having some fun here, which is what I do. Right, so I don't know if you can see this now. I'll try and hold it up to an angle. You can see it looks a little bit, we're starting to put on some layers here now. All right, so some are darker, some are lighter. Okay, so that's the first one. Then I take another one, so another stencil. I'm going to use a slightly different color now. I'll stick with this brush. This is an oxide, so you want to be careful, and if you're not sure, take a scrap piece and just rub it over the stencil just to see the kind of color that's going to come out, and the pressure that you do or don't want to put onto the page. All right, so just looking, I've got a very light bit there, and I want to just get a little bit of it, and I'm just doing some a little darker, some a little lighter, that kind of a thing. Make some a little bit smaller. You know, just go and have some fun with it. Got some like that. Don't do too much. We are putting layers on here, so you know, just touching here and there. Right, I'm quite happy with that. Right, so you can see now we've got a different layer on there. Some are darker, some are lighter, smaller sizes. There we go. Right, and then what I do is I try and find, I want a little bit of a touch of something else. I'm going to go with my vintage photo now. My vintage photo, I'm using the oxide. I have sort of evolved to the oxides. I don't know why, they just sort of have a softer tone. What I want to do is just grab my Tim Holtz. Do I want the Tim Holtz or do I want this other one? This one's got a lot more variations, so I'm going to go with these swirly bits over here. I'm going to just line this up to the edge there, just although I'm not going to necessarily go there. Use my, and use the same one, just all blends in the color. So, you know, start from the outside. And it's just sort of fading. And if you're not sure, lift it up before you pick it up and then just check. Well, that looks quite nice. All right, and then might just put a little bit down here. And you can use different stencils, so you know, don't be afraid to do that. So it's coming along nicely now. So this side I'll use one of these others. I'm doing this pretty lightly. I hope the camera's not jiggling around too much. And I'm not putting on more, I'm just letting it fade naturally. Here we go, and then maybe, yeah, I quite like that. So we'll put that on. Just blot it on paper if you put too much on. You don't want it to be overbearing. Okay, right, so that looks great. So we've got a couple of those on now, so I'll show you that quickly. All right, now we don't want it to be too loud. You know, I want other things to sort of take the front when I decorate it with other bits, but this has created a lovely base now. There's only one other thing that I want to do, and that is to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to show you how I do that quickly. So hang on there a moment and I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm back. Right, we're going to get ready to do a little bit of stamping here. This is an old archival ink. I like this one. It's potting soil. You can use whichever you most favor. I do like this one. I'm not really a fan of black, so I like the potting soil. Then with this, don't ask me where I've got this. This is a very old and well used little bit of script stamping. All right, I don't put it on a board because I'm going to angle it to get little bits, flecks of writing here and there. All right, so I just open this up like this. What is that? Piece of my... Right, and then I just take the corner of this, bend it, and I just put this here and there. So a little bit there, a little bit there. Sometimes I put longer bits, so, you know, just little bits here and there. And you don't need a lot either. So like that, not very much. All right, now you can stamp whatever you want. If you've got a swirl stamp or something else, feel free to use that, you know. It's just very light bits on there, and that's sort of the gist of what I do. So I'll do a few others, and I will show them to you at the end. All right, so I'll be back with you once I've completed the rest of the sheets. Okay, so I am back. I'm going to show you quickly how to do these little, what I do to these little molded pieces that are now dry. But before I do that, I'll just show you what I have done now. So this is one of the pages that you can see. I've just used a combination, brought in a bit of pink here, some stamping. Yeah, used some different combos of doilies here, so you can just see what I've done. These ones have brought in some pink with some different stencils. Yeah, so I hope that gives you an idea of what you can do, and I have done that on both sides. So just showing you how you can decorate this up. This would look lovely with a ruffle, or you know, if you're wanting to put a flip, or you know, just any kind of scrappy paper decorations on the side here. It just does something to those otherwise quite plain tea stain paper, and you can write on this. So you know, that's also the great thing there. So go and have a go at playing around with some of those. It feels wonderful, and it's got just a little bit of texture and dimension, just ever so slightly. All right, so that's that. Now what I wanted to show you was what I do with these. I have done one underneath here, and I'm hoping you can see slightly what I've done there with that. You can see I've just rubbed a little bit of ink on there. It just makes it is 3D now because it is raised. And I'll just show you ever so quickly how I do that. So I did that on both sides. With this one I've done it the opposite way. So if I just move that and we have a look at this here, what I've got is my ink. This will work with the oxide or the normal distressed ink. It just depends on what you have. This one's Tattered Rose, so I'm just going to rub this around on one of my little brushes, and then ever so softly, and do make sure this is dry, just rub that over the top of this dried modeling paste. So it just gives it a lovely vintage look, I think, and it just sort of colors the area just around the stenciled surface. So I think it just adds something to the page, you know, and you don't have to do this on every page, of course, but it's just a nice extra. And I just want to get some at the top there. So little circles ever so gently, and just do a little bit at the time. You can add more as you go, you know. So there we go, there's that one. And then you just do the same thing over here. So this one I've used the Tattered Rose. The other one I've used is Milled Lavender. So it just depends what you want to do. All right, that was not quite dry in the middle. Okay, so there we go, there's the one. I probably prefer the other, actually. I probably prefer this. This is the Milled Lavender on the avocado paper. Okay guys, so that just gives you some extra ideas on what you can do to your pages. Again, this is not using any digitals, this is just using white paper. I've tea stained or ever-stained them using your modeling paste or your white gesso, stencil, stamping, whatever it is there, and these will make beautiful additions to your journal sheets. Now I am going to use the 2 sheets of avocado paper, and I'm going to use 4 sheets of the paper that I've just made now. I'm going to fold those in half, and I'm going to show you ever so quickly how to put those signatures together. So let's just fold these in half quickly. And I'll fold all of these in half, and then I'm going to show you how I'm going to put the signatures together for the journal. So join me back here just in a second or two. Alright, so I have folded all of these in half. I'll show you how I'm going to use those in a minute. I now have printed the following pages to go into these 2 signatures. So this is the first one. I printed all of the ones that are relative to this design except for the monotone page. So I printed all 4 of those. So you've got that one, and that one. All right, and then I did the same with the other purple kit. I've printed all 4 of them except for the monotone. All right, so I've done all 4 of those, and then this one here. All right, now on the back of these I alternated them with, and there's no specific order. I've put half of them have this lace paper background and the other half have my printed avocado digital. All right, so you'll see the one that looks like that has the lace. The one that's avocado is that one, and I've alternated them here as well. Then I've got another lace sheet that goes onto the back of this one, and then another avocado sheet which is on that one. So this one's going to be the front, and then those four are all together. All right, so the purple ones I'm keeping together and the more burgundy ones. So again, same thing. I've got that one with the lace paper. I've got that one which has the avocado. I've got the purpley one which is the lace, and this one again which has the avocado. So I'm going to fold those all in half quickly, and then I'll show you how I'm going to add the other pages in. Okay, so here it is. So the first page with the avocado on the back, I've got one of these pages. Then I've put that one in the middle there. Then I've included the avocado stain page, another one of those with the avocado on there, and then a tea stain page with the lacy bit over there. And this one I've changed so that you've got a nice middle spread. All right, so that's the burgundy sort of purpley collection there. And then with this one, I've got this page on the front. It's got the avo on the back. I've got one of these, one of those with the lace, then the avocado. Got that there. We've got one like that, one with lace, and this one opens up into a beautiful middle spread. All right, so we are going to do a few things, which I will show to you when I do the flip through, I think. So these are the two signatures, which are going to be predominantly writing sections for you to put in all the details to do with your family. I will include a couple of pockets and things, but I wanted to get these ready so that I could show you how to go about putting it, the cover together and the signatures into that in our next video. All right, so I hope that that's been helpful. You're all ready to go now. Get your bits all sorted. We will then be able to put this all together and hopefully finish it off this week sometime still, by the end of the weekend, hopefully. All right, so thank you, everybody. I'm looking forward to seeing how you are all getting along. Please post that in the Facebook group. I love seeing what you think about it. So that's wonderful to see. Thank you. Until our next time then, I'm going to wish you all very well. Stay well, enjoy your crafting time, and we'll see each other again very soon. Bye-bye.